Friends, new friends alike, thank you for coming by. This is our Kublai Khan lecture channel where today we're going to be talking about the sort of importance of how a good content strategy involves a clever introduction of a product into the actual content. So what exactly is that? Well, before we get into that, that's our intro. Hey, thank you for coming by. I'm Jared Arabago. I am a community specialist of live streaming at a AAA gaming company. And you can go ahead and Google that and look it up if you want to find anything. But I wanted to share with you guys, especially those of you who are trying to become career content creators of your own, that all the things that I was able to learn and discover, and also the things I'm learning and doing now as a career so that you can optimize the success of your channel. So we're going to start breaking into that first thing that I said, which is content involving some form of a product. All right. So here we go. When we're talking about this is going to be the core idea of what I teach. And what this general idea means is when you include a product into your content, this is an idea where there is an ability for your community to offer you value in return back. Now, in less marketing speech, this basically means that you have something related to your channel that they can buy that is really cool, though. And that's an important point. Because the thing is let's talk about that a good product integrated well is something that is almost an obvious thing. Like, you're like, of course the person would interact with this. Of course I would want to do this. I mean, and so, but why would you even want to do this? Why would you even ever want to touch this idea of like, hey, we're going to share something, I'm going to sell something. Why is this good? Well, because ad revenue as a market, like, to survive on, is a really unstable tool to actually make money and grow a channel on. You're stuck on things where, like, in the beginning of the year, in January, there's a very low value in advertisements on YouTube, for example, because nobody's buying advertisements because it's not a big selling season. In December, tons of people are actually spending money trying to buy lots of advertisements, and so those ad auctions where people are buying keywords and placements, very, very lucrative time, but it alters, it changes. And there are even times when, for example, with the gun channels on YouTube, YouTube said we're not going to allow violence like that on our channels anymore. And then the ads just stopped showing up on those guys and they started losing money. So the thing is that you want to avoid putting your life to be connected to ad revenue on a YouTube channel. Or even on a Twitch channel or whatever you do, it's anything that allows this ad revenue connection is going to be a dangerous thing for content. So that's reason one. But another reason is because now, as a creator, you care more about creating attention to your videos as opposed to good videos. You make videos about gathering a lot of eyeballs, so you get a lot of ad money. It's about selling your audience to your advertisers. And that makes some bad content sometimes. Sometimes it's great content, but a lot of the times it's not your content. It's not the content you care a lot about. It's the content that you're algorithmically trying to optimize to get the most ad revenue out of. It doesn't give your message necessarily. Your message, if you were interested in about how to make people's days better as a life coach or something like that, needs to be in the top 5 tricks because that's what's clickable instead of something that truly could help someone. So it's a thing that is really, as a creator, you want to try to avoid this ad revenue, which is why this product really helps with this. Now, I mean, when people are imagining, scrolling through my notes, when I'm talking about this idea of a product integrated intelligently into your content, this is something that, like I mentioned, it's so obvious that people are like, this is the best thing ever. And that's actually hard to get. So I have some examples of content that I've seen that is perfect for this kind of thing. If you guys have actually watched anything from Vatya Vidya, this is a guy who does Dark Souls lore videos. And in these Dark Soul lore videos, he breaks down, like, this is what this character is, and this is their side story, and they're fascinating videos. This guy has a Patreon. On his Patreon, he allows his patrons to vote on what video they want to see next. So one of the times he was like, would you like me to do a Dark Souls and Bloodborne combined video? People voted on it, and he made it. That's awesome. It's a fantastic way to design a product that people are interested in. Because of course people want to have a word in what happens when you're generating some cool piece of content. And I'm geeking out on this one because not only does he create that, that creates what is known as hub content. This is content that is designed for your core audience instead of recruitment strategies. So he is able to separate his hub content from his recruitment strategy because he'll make videos that go specifically out to the YouTube for algorithm figuring out, so that it's about bringing new people into the hub content. So this is a fantastic product because of course people want to learn more about Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and combine the two. So with this separation, he's able to get people in and appease one side of the problem and then satisfy the hub, the core of his audience. And that's something that is super excellent in how he handles it. And it's one of the things that really ensures that you don't do too many things with your content. What that means is like, and we'll go into more in depth on this in a different lecture, but the idea is that you want to ensure that your content is focused on either satisfying your hub audience or recruiting or some other thing that you're trying to do. You don't want to do multiple things at once necessarily, or at least minimize it. I see a question from Black Bear Gaming. We'll get to questions towards the end. I'll actually scroll through the chat. So whenever you guys have questions, make sure to put them in there because they'll pop up here so people will know that I'll be looking at those questions later. And then also I can answer them because they're recorded in the chat. So here's another question that I know is kind of related to this when I talk about a product and doing a channel. Is Vacha Video is huge and he's been big for a while. Should you as a small channel create a product? And the answer to that is, it depends on how smart your product is. And when I say smart, I mean how well integrated it is into your content. You can absolutely do it, and you should do it. However, you got to think about this, and it takes time to do. A good example of this is, let's say I was an artist, okay? I paint on a beautiful picture, and I'm using actual paints, and I paint on top of this, and I live stream my painting. And as I'm live streaming my painting, I'm saying, hey, if anybody's interested in buying this piece, you're welcome to. That's a perfect way. You could have 4 people watching you, and maybe one of them wants it. You're live streamed, whether on Twitch or on YouTube or on Mixer or whatnot, is designed to drive people to like an Etsy store. Or maybe, if you're the kind of person who wants to do this, you could do something like, we have patron tiers, where one tier is like, hey, you get first opportunity to buy my product. It's $1 a month. Something like, really inexpensive. But it's something that people may like. And it's, I can't, immediately know if something is good or not within a patron tier, which is what the experimentation is for. But the thing is that's the intelligent integration discussion, is because a product like making a picture, you have this opportunity as a viewer to watch this creation of this beautiful piece of work. And then you have the option to have it. If you want to have it, maybe you pay for the opportunity to be first on the list to get it. Maybe as a creator, if I was painting, I have an eBay listing and my patrons get first access to those eBay listings. There's a lot of possible ways that you can incorporate something like that at a small channel that makes sense for your content. An example of this not making sense is if you started a Let's Play channel and you put a logo on a t-shirt. So let's say I did Kublai Khan. That's a perfect example. I did Kublai Khan right when I started out, or maybe even now, debatably, on a shirt. The question about that is like, well, am I giving anything to someone with that shirt logo thing? Because really, I'd be selling a community. I'm not PewDiePie. You're not part of my bro army. You can't announce to the world that you're part of this group because there's not really that much of a group yet. So it's too early and that's not intelligently integrated in the product because it's not solving a problem kind of thing. Versus if you drew, Captain Falcon from Super Smash Bros. And it was really cool. I want that in my house. That solves a problem. I don't have a picture on my wall. Now I do, and it's of Captain Falcon. So that's something where the intelligent integration comes in versus an unintelligent. You can definitely, with thought, you can make these smart products that work really well with what you're doing. We'll take here, for example. I have a Patreon that I'm working on right now that I'll start unveiling as we go into this, and each one of the tiers of this Patreon is based off of things that I think will solve problems for you guys when you're watching. These lectures are available for people to watch, and then we'll go into, if you want to learn more, there's more opportunities through that. That's a work in progress, though, and I'll be talking about soon, and you guys can get an idea of what I mean from intelligently integrated, which also you guys might come back to me and be like, hey, this is shitty. And then that would be feedback. And that's a good lesson for how you guys can know how to work on intelligently integrating products too. So, let's see. Let me continue. I have to go through the rest of my notes. So, before we go in questions, before we discuss that, I wanted to take this opportunity to discuss a philosophy that I have about content creation. And so this is for, there's other new individuals who are starting or people who've been here for a long time. Content creation is hard. Very hard. This isn't something that you can kind of half-ass. You can enjoy as a hobbyist if you like. The way I'm going to be teaching it is with the expectation that you are trying to run this as a real thing. This is like a college course. You're going to put your effort in. And so because of that philosophy that I have a recommendation in regards to that. I think that you, as a creator, should create a multi-tiered goal, which is to apply to what you can get out of this class. What I mean is goal 1 of this multi-tiered goal would be something like attend these lectures so you can learn new things. That way, anytime you try anything from these lectures or you're at these lectures or whatnot, you're making an effort to grow and improve yourself. Like you would going to a lecture at school or doing homework and that kind of thing. You're making a conscious effort. And then if that's your goal, you're succeeding that goal. The next part of the goal would be to turn what you've learned here into a project that you can present. This isn't necessarily making lots of money, but this is an intelligently integrated, created project that would work on a resume. The reason I push this is because one of the reasons why I was able to be working at Monolith is because of working on my YouTube channel. It was something I could put on my resume, say, this is what I do and this is how I am good at this. I've used it also to get freelance work for editing. I've also been able to use it to get consulting work to teach people YouTube strategy and live streaming. It's something that is used as a resume builder. So that's your goal too. Both these goals also aren't inherently about making money or cash. They're about being intelligent and knowing how to do this before the actual final, it'd be like being the best soccer player in the world before playing on a championship team. You can be the best. You also need to find that right area for you to succeed. But first, you have to learn yourself. So instead of thinking about one day I'm going to be a gold cup winner, think about what you can do right now and what your successes are now. Because your final goal, or your final goals, however you would be, could be getting that job, could be getting that tons of money, could be creating that, side job, or whatever you end up doing it. That could be the value there. So, anywho, those are the multi-tiered goals. Those are, goal 1 is you should learn. Goal 2 is that you should use what you've learned and turn it into a project you can show, because then it will give you a huge amount of benefits from jobs to other work and that kind of thing. And potentially, you have that third benefit. And that's how I think you should look at these lectures, is to use them to solve goal 1 and goal 2. And then goal 3 is kind of your grit and spit and that kind of thing. So, so that's the basics of how we're going through here. Circling back real quick, product, intelligently integrated into your content, fantastic way to grow because it allows you to separate from needing ad revenue and focus on this particular product that you can bring a community around. You can grow a community around the development of this particular experience. And then, and this is the big fun one actually, and I forgot to mention it, if your focus is on this, you need a lot less people to be involved than you would if you were an ad revenue focused. There's a thing we'll talk about in the future called the 1,000 fans. Basically, the idea is that there's a calculation that people say maybe about 1,000 fans is all it takes to be a full-time, successful, very happy living person online, assuming you're able to correctly get some value from these people. And with that, we'll talk about that more. So we're going to open up to discussion now. So I'm reading the questions and I'll answer questions that came through. I will also be if you have anything extra that you want to say. Time-wise, I'm going to probably be here for about another 20-ish minutes or so. And my plan is to do this again next week, Tuesday, same time, 8 p.m. And